Disney fans being over dramatic about these areas in the parks getting replaced, or are they justified? My name is Angela, and I have been a big Disney Parks fan. I have been since I was little, and I have some opinions about these areas in the parks that are getting replaced, and I'm going to share with you if I think that there is justification for the level of outrage that we've seen from Disney fans on certain attractions and areas of the parks getting replaced. We have 4 changes to discuss today. Most of them are going to be at Disney World, but one's going to be at Disneyland. Make sure that you stay tuned for that one. First is Dinoland U.S.A. going extinct. In Animal Kingdom, we are losing Dinoland U.S.A. That means we are losing Dinosaur, the Dino Institute, as well as Chester's and Hester's Dino-Rama, which attractions included Triceratops Spin, and I think it was called Countdown to Extinction, but if I'm wrong, I'm going to put it here because honestly, my memory escapes me right now, as well as the carnival-style games in that area. What we are getting instead is the Latin Americas area to go along with Africa and Asia. We are getting an Encanto ride. We are getting an Indiana Jones ride akin to the one in Disneyland, but they say it's going to be different, so I hope so. And also a carousel, which is going to consist of these beautiful wood-carved animals to ride on. And the level of outrage, I would say, is 2 out of 5. People are upset about this going away. It really only seems to be the biggest fans. There wasn't really any IP that was beloved. The dinosaur movie is not a well-loved IP, and obviously Chester and Hester's was like an original area. And people have, I think, more nostalgia for the dinosaur ride itself, like Dr. Seeker, instead of everything else about that area. Chester's and Hester's does have a really good storyline, but it just got lost on probably like 99% of the guests who were there. Unless you really knew about it, it's not that great of an area. But if you know, and it's amazing. So that's why people aren't that outraged about it. The good news about this area, at least for like ride-wise, is all the rides that we're losing 3. We are also getting 3 rides. And because this was one of the more kid-friendly areas of the park, the carousel is going to be family friendly, as well as I'm pretty sure the Encanto ride is also going to be family friendly. If that can give us 2 no height requirement rides, that is a bonus in my opinion. The only ride that I am personally nervous about is Indiana Jones, and that's just because we already have that same ride system, Indiana Jones themed attraction in Disneyland. So that's the biggest fear, is that this is going to be a carbon copy. They keep saying it's going to be a different storyline, but I would be really curious to see if it is a new storyline or if there is some repetition between the 2 coasts. I don't know if they've said this yet, but I am hoping there are some more of those animal trails that will have some of those animals that are native to the Latin Americas in this area as well. Overall, I think the level of outrage is reasonable for this one. I think the 2 out of 5 is understandable. Next is Rivers of America in Magic Kingdom. Rivers of America is getting filled in, so that means we're losing Tom Sawyer Island and the Liberty Bell. We are getting what's called Piston Peak, and this is going to be a Cars themed area. It's going to look like the Pacific Northwest. It's really rugged looking, and there are supposed to be 2 Cars rides coming to this area. Now, the level of outrage for this is a 4 out of 5. Rivers of America is very classic. Tom Sawyer's Island has a lot of nostalgia, and the Liberty Bell is a great place to just kind of hang out and relax when everything else in the park is super crowded. So these rides aren't super popular, but they are nostalgic. My thoughts is I think a 4 out of 5 is justified. However, I think a 5 out of 5 would be justified, because whatever attractions come in have to be spectacular, because we're taking a quintessential part of the Disney parks, of the castle parks, and filling it in. So whatever comes in has to make sure that it can live up to the potential, which is really hard for Disney fans. It's gonna be really hard to live up to expectation. After the initial more like realistic looking concept art, we now got a very animated concept art, and it looks like there's a lot more water. That was a big thing, was losing Rivers of America meant losing a water feature, which everybody loves a water feature. Don't take away our water. So I'm glad we are still going to be getting that. So I'm not as upset anymore, but I am looking forward to that. And I think it's just sad. It's just sad to lose a nostalgic part, but again, it's okay to be sad, but we need to understand that change is going to happen, especially for things that aren't super popular in their parks. Next is Muppets Courtyard. We are losing MuppetVision 3D as well as Pizza Rizzo, and we are getting a Monsters Inc. land. I know for sure there's going to be one ride. There's going to be that roller coaster that looks like the inside of Monsters Inc. It also looks like we may be getting a Harryhausen's, which I would be excited for, and just a whole Monsters Inc. themed area. The level of outrage on this is 5 out of 5. I didn't expect people to get this upset because MuppetVision 3D was never super popular. I would go to it every time because it was always short, but it was never super popular. You were always just waiting for the next show. Up until the last week, there was literally no line to go into MuppetVision 3D, and nobody cares for Pizza Rizzo unless, you know, the really hardcore fans love the theming in there. But the whole outrage is because this was Jim Henson's last work. He died literally a year before the attraction opened. That being said, Muppets are also going to be replacing Aerosmith on Rock and Roller Coaster, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. And I do understand it. I don't think maybe the level of outrage is justified. However, I do understand why people who love the Muppets are upset. The fan base for an overall population isn't there. There are people who really love the Muppets, and like, I really enjoyed the most recent Haunted Mansion Muppets. I would love to see more Muppets like that. But Muppets just aren't as popular nowadays, I think. Even the Jim Henson lot was up for sale. Luckily, that's going to be maintained, but even that was going up for sale. For me, if you said, do you want a Muppets area or do you want a Monsters Inc. land? I would rather have the Monsters Inc. land. I love Monsters Inc. significantly more than I love the Muppets. I'm excited for this area. I'm excited for the ride that they announced, and I hope that we get like a Cars Land 2.0. I want a really, really good themed area that can capture the spirit of that movie like Cars did, because I'm not even a big Cars movie fan, and I love Cars Land. So I'm hoping we can achieve something similar here. The last thing we're going to talk about is at Disneyland, specifically at Disney's California Adventure. So we are losing Mike and Sully to the rescue, the Monsters Inc. themed dark ride. And an Avatar area is coming, which is supposed to be different than Pandora and Animal Kingdom. Again, I hope that's the case. I do not like repeats in multiple parks. And the level of outrage for this specific ride going was a 4 out of 5. I'm actually shocked how many people were so upset by this. I was flabbergasted. People are upset that we are losing a family-friendly ride, which is totally justified. And a lot of people, their justification is that they care more about Monsters Inc. than Avatar, which agreed. I also feel the same way. But however, Pandora and Animal Kingdom is super popular. And my thoughts are, I actually can't remember the last time that I rode Monsters Inc. Because every time I go, for some reason, I guess maybe because it's a low capacity ride, that line is always super long. I wouldn't wait more than 20-30 minutes for that ride, and I see it 40 minutes or above, I'm not going on that ride. And people that say that this is like the greatest dark ride are it's just not correct. In fact, this ride was basically just a reskin from an old ride. That old ride was Superstar Limo. And the theming of that ride was you're going around and seeing all these caricatures of celebrities, like on a tour of LA basically. And the reason why they had to come up with this ride is because they were going to do a roller coaster themed to where you were in a limo escaping the paparazzi. But guess who died in that exact manner shortly before that? Princess Diana. So that would be in very poor taste to make that ride. So they had to come up with something better. I think Superstar Limo lasted less than a year. In fact, a lot of the CDA agents, if you were to go on that ride, they used quite a few of the celebrities to become CDA agents, including Drew Carey, Jackie Chan, and Whoopi Goldberg. So for me, I'm not sad about this. I'm glad we're gonna get it on a different coast so we could still have a Monsters Inc. ride, but I am excited to see what this Pandora area is gonna be, even if it wasn't what I would have chosen. So based on that, let me know down below what your level of outrage was for these changes, and if you are looking forward to what's to come. With that, I will see you. Have a magical day, and I will see you the next time.